Are you trying to lose weight but feeling stuck? That healthy bowl of oatmeal that you're having for breakfast every morning might be to blame. Now, I'm not saying that oats are bad, full stop. For some people in certain situations, they can be a suitable option. For example, high-intensity athletes who require more carbohydrates quickly in order to perform their best. But that is not the vast majority of people, and that is not who this video is aimed at today. If you are carrying excess weight, if you have high blood sugar, or if you have insulin resistance, the cons of eating oatmeal for breakfast probably outweigh the pros. And in today's video, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why that's the case. The first reason that they're not a good breakfast option is because they turn off fat burning. When you eat oats for breakfast, fat burning turns off, and your body goes into fat storage mode instead. This metabolic switch is triggered by a rise in blood sugar and insulin. Now, blood sugar spikes in isolation, they're not a problem. A rise in blood sugar is a normal response to eating carbohydrates that your body is equipped to deal with, but only if you are metabolically healthy. If you are carrying excess weight, then it's highly likely that you have some level of metabolic dysfunction. And this means that your body is not able to metabolize food, and in particular, carbohydrates efficiently. This means that these foods are more likely to be stored as fat. But how does this relate to oatmeal and weight loss? Well, half a cup of plain steel-cut oats contains around 27 grams of carbohydrates. When we eat oatmeal, these carbohydrates are broken down into glucose or sugar, and they enter our bloodstream, causing our blood sugar to rise. Now, when your blood sugar goes up, the body releases insulin in order to take this excess sugar from our bloodstream to the cells in our body to use it for energy. And this rise in insulin is a trigger for the body to stop burning fat and to store it instead. And as I mentioned earlier, in isolation, this isn't a bad thing. It just means that energy is readily available, so your body isn't going to tap into your stored body fat. But if weight loss is your goal and you're carrying excess fat, then this might be working against you. Because in order for your body to get back into fat burning mode, insulin needs to be low. And if you're metabolically unhealthy, it takes longer for your body to get back to this state. The more time throughout the day that you can spend in a low insulin state, the more efficient your body is going to be at burning fat. And it is easiest to extend this time in the morning because your insulin is going to be at its lowest when you wake up after not eating all night. You can extend this low insulin state by choosing a breakfast that's low in carbohydrates or by pushing your breakfast back a couple of hours. We'll talk more about better breakfast options a bit later in this video. The second reason that it's not a good option for weight loss is because it makes you hungrier. And this happens for a couple different reasons. The first reason is that oats are low in protein and they're low in fat. Protein in particular is so important for controlling hunger. The main role of carbohydrates and fat in the body is to provide energy, but protein is needed for other reasons. And because of this, we remain hungry until our protein needs are met, even if we've met our overall energy needs through carbohydrates and fat. And this is why many people will find they're hungry only an hour or 2 after eating a bowl of oatmeal. They didn't meet their need for protein. At bare minimum, everyone should be aiming to get at least 30 grams of quality protein in at every meal. And this is especially important for our first meal of the day. If we don't meet this protein threshold, this starts a chain reaction for hunger swings throughout the day. Half a cup of steel-cut oats has only 5 grams of protein, nowhere near this 30 grams minimum. Now, if you add something like a tablespoon of peanut butter, you might be able to get another maybe 5 grams of protein. Contrary to popular belief, peanut butter is not a good protein source. By adding something like Greek yogurt or quality protein powder, you are going to be able to bump it up a little bit more. However, you are still stuck with the dilemma of oats being high in carbohydrates, which, as we spoke about earlier, turns off fat burning. Although I will say that adding protein does help to lessen hunger in the hours after, and it does help to reduce the blood sugar spike, which can help with hunger swings as well. Because when our blood sugar spikes dramatically, it also crashes dramatically. And if you're metabolically unhealthy, this crash can sometimes go below baseline and lead to low blood sugar. And when your blood sugar drops like this, you become hungry because your body is desperate for energy. So there are ways to make oats a little bit more blood sugar and insulin friendly and a little bit better for weight loss. However, they're still not ideal. And the final reason is that they worsen metabolic health. They do this by increasing insulin resistance. We've spoken about blood sugar a bit throughout this video, and we've touched on insulin as well. And high insulin really is the main factor that's stopping a lot of people from losing weight. Because remember that when insulin is high, this triggers our body to go into fat storage mode. And for someone who's insulin resistant, insulin is always high. You're stuck in this state of fat storage, and it's really hard to get into fat burning mode. And oatmeal is one of the foods that can make insulin resistance worse. It continues the cycle of high insulin and fat storage. So for those three reasons, you might want to stop eating oatmeal at breakfast if weight loss is your goal. But what should you eat instead? Breakfasts that are high in protein and fat and lower in carbohydrates are optimal. Protein and fat require very little, if any, insulin to process, and they don't raise blood sugar, meaning your energy is going to be more stable for longer after eating them. Good breakfast options include eggs, unsweetened Greek yogurt, avocados, smoked salmon, sugar-free bacon and sausages, mushrooms, and any non-starchy vegetables and low-sugar fruit. And I really want to emphasize that protein is key here. Ideally, you want to be getting quality animal protein in to start your day. This is why I personally shop with ButcherCrowd. ButcherCrowd is a meat delivery service here in Australia that delivers 100% grass-fed and finished beef and lamb, pasture-raised chicken and pork, and wild-caught seafood across Australia. How many times can I say Australia? I've been using ButcherCrowd for 5, maybe even 6 years now, and I cannot recommend them enough. All of their products are top-notch from Australian farms, with the exception of their salmon, which is actually from North America because there's no such thing as wild salmon here in Australia. When you start your subscription, you can choose either one of their curated boxes or to build your own. And you can change it every month, so you don't need to worry about being stuck with the same thing. To check them out, you can head to healthcoachkait.com/butchercrowd. I'll put that link in the description box down below. And make sure to use code KATE15 at checkout to save 15% off your first box. Now, if you absolutely love oatmeal and you can't give it up, as we mentioned earlier, there are a few ways to make it more blood sugar, insulin, and weight loss friendly. If you eat it later in the day, this is going to be better than eating it first thing in the morning. This is because when we eat carbs on an empty stomach, they're digested more rapidly and the blood sugar spike is more significant. Insulin goes up higher. But if you eat them later in the day, after you've had 1, maybe 2 other meals, the blood sugar and insulin spike is going to be more gradual. You can also eat them around exercise because even if you go for a walk afterwards or before, your body is going to be able to use some of those carbohydrates for energy immediately, so they're not going to be stored as fat. And as we also mentioned earlier, having them with protein and fat can help as well. Now, I want to hear from you guys. What is your go-to breakfast? Let me know in the comments down below. I also did a video a few weeks ago on the best breakfast options for insulin resistance, which also applies to weight loss. So I'll link that up above if you want to check it out afterwards. And if you're in Australia, also remember to check out ButcherCrowd. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.